The things that you guys are touching on, such as the court system and gender roles, are a subject of patriarchy, and that's part of what women are trying to dismantle, is those traditional gender roles.
Are there any feminist organizations that have done anything, for example, to challenge bias against men and fathers in the family court system?
Absolutely.
Can you please give me like a list of feminist advocacy organizations that have engaged in any meaningful advocacy to address those issues, because there are actually none.
Okay. I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come with a list of like feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again,
organization.
I didn't come with a list, my dude.
There are no such organizations.
Three feminists debate three minimists. Okay, here we go.
I'd say that I'm an advocate for what I believe the role that men play in society. I believe that their views should be expressed openly, that they should be given a platform to do so, and I believed in men unapologetically and unashamedly being men as we were created.
I think in my heart that there are things that men are entitled to. I am all about human rights, and I try to I do consider the rights of every human, but every time I hear of a men's rights activist, I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning, and
Okay, I have to stop you there so we don't forget. She just said every time she is arguing or talking with men's rights activists, she hears anger and she hears they're illogical.
I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning.
Just remember, anger and illogical, stamp that on Alyesha here because she just said it.
Every time I hear of a men's rights activist, I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning, and it just boils my blood because it's a setback for all of us.
All right, you guys heard that. She claimed anger and illogical when she talks with men's rights activists, which, again, have you noticed the three guys, our man Derrick, Kursat, and Zach, they don't seem to be very anger-filled or emotional during this. So I'm going to give her this real quick.
I feel that the other side does not understand my values.
I think a lot of times when a movement is created, the other side thinks that they're being attacked or think that it's some like attempt at erasure. That's not what feminism is about at all. What do you need a whole men's rights activism movement for? I'm sincerely confused.
Well, I mean, like, I will advocate for positive masculinity and what men should represent and healthy outlets for men. Like, I still think the Boy Scouts should be exclusively the Boy Scouts, for example, one of those things. Where I would like to think that we could get some common ground is when it comes to the clear biases that are in the court system, especially in the marriage and family court system, right? And right there is what I would advocate for when it comes to men's rights.
The things that stand valid, like that I'm hearing from y'all that are like valid to me, come from a place of like, I'm treated like unfairly by the system, versus a lot of the things women are saying. It's also America and the system as well, but a lot of it is like harm from men.
How and where?
How and where what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not gonna talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club, a boy touched me, I said no, he kept touching me, it got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my husband was not too far away, and he said, sorry bro, never said sorry to me. That's why, and that's off the top of my head. This is why I get upset, because I'm like, I'm here to talk about like how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact that women actually have experiences, that's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off, because how dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face, is not valid.
I didn't say they were invalid, I said how and why. I'm trying to understand.
How and why? Because it happened. It happened many times. It happened yesterday. It happened the day before.
Okay, I think so.
So, guys, there was a reason why I pointed out anger and illogical when she talks with men's rights activists.
I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning.
You know why we also talk about projection? That's one of the things that you can find out. It's like the mirror image of what's on our mind. A lot of times it's going to be projected out. Did that sound like she was calm and logical during that entire rant? Or did that sound like she was angry and emotional?
It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off. That's where I get pissed off. That's where I get pissed off.
What she just called out. Just called out. I'm going to give her another one of these. Yeah, that's, she's just getting angry because she's about to hit that.
A great, great wall.
Boom.
The things that you guys are touching on, such as the court system and gender roles, are a subject of patriarchy, and that's part of what women are trying to dismantle, is those traditional gender roles.
Are there any feminist organizations that have done anything, for example, to challenge bias against men and fathers in the family court system?
Absolutely.
Can you please give me a list of feminist advocacy organizations that have engaged in any meaningful advocacy to address those issues, because there are actually none.
Okay. I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come with a list of feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again, I
organization.
didn't come with a list, my dude.
There are no such organizations.
We got the sniper. Kursat with the truth bombs. He's asking for receipts. And what does she do? She looks at her female allies. Ugh, I didn't bring your stats, dude. Laughs about it.
I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come with a list of feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again, I
organization.
didn't come with a list, my dude.
That's every argument you'll get. When you get stats, they get offended. They get offended. Oh, just because I don't have stats doesn't mean that, you don't know my truth. You don't know my experiences just because I don't have stats. Every time. That is why no matter where you go, even though you always think you're going to find a middle ground, if you argue with logic and someone else argues with emotions, at some point, all they have to do is, but you don't understand my feelings, right? Because that to them, that's winning. Emotions are everything. So they believe that is like the trump card. Yeah, but my feelings, my truth, I win. And then that makes the logical ones that are arguing with their logic, totally insane. This is why I always say, slam your head against a wall rather than argue with a feminist, unless you're doing it for your own joy. If you're actually trying to do it, change minds, slam your head against a wall, it will be more productive. You will drive yourself insane when you argue logic versus emotions. Oh, Kursat, man. The sniper.
In what ways are men's rights at risk?
I think there has been significant progress over the last decade or so, especially in the legal field, but I think there are still significant disparities that need to be addressed, such as poor health conditions, bias against men in the criminal justice system, bias against men in family courts, and bias against men in the educational system, especially in colleges.
Men and women should be allies.
Men, unfortunately, many of them don't want to even have this open dialogue that we're sharing right now. We need men to help be allies, to help speak to other men.
It strikes me the way you phrase this, you almost want men to say certain things that you want them to say, as opposed to maybe actually listening to what they're saying.
What certain things would I want to hear?
Just kind of men being allies, men talking to other men, etc. I'm completely okay with that, but I'm not going to repeat feminist talking points to other men.
We all believe.
Our man Kursat. Just dropping the bombs.
Different things. We may be under the label of men's rights activists, but for example, I'm probably the most traditionalist person here. I think we should be allies but maybe us being allies in a patriarchy wouldn't be so bad. You know, us going back to the past wouldn't be so bad. It would probably be a lot happier if we were, you know, getting married and staying married and having kids and, you know, going to church and all that, la-di-da-di-da.
While speaking to the three of you, I feel like you're each coming from different perspectives. So it's hard to, you know, again, just like our perspectives, it's hard to generalize. So to me, I feel like there are certain things that, even though we're not fully agreeing on it, things may get lost in translation, our verbiage may not be 100% correct, that we could at least agree on.
Can I ask one question? What would you envision would be the ideal man with the end goal of feminism as far as educating men or working to dismantle whatever patriarchy is? Like, what does that man look like?
I gotta say, I got a respect for this Zach cat here. He has some pretty good questions, it seems, in my opinion. So he's asking, what would that look like? Give him, yeah, that's a good question to ask him.
With childhood, we have to teach children as well as girls, because we're also taught, because of toxic masculinity, what a man should be as well.
I think that we just need to hold men accountable. In order to kind of make progress, we need help from people that will listen, because let's be real, when we express our concerns, a lot of men refuse to listen, but they would be more likely to listen to another man.
So Mimi's solution, surprise guys, surprise. She's a feminist, and at the very beginning, what did she say? They said, do you call yourself a feminist? And she was like, what did she call it? Intersectional feminist. She was very proud. She lives for the whole motto of men bad, women good. We need to hold men more accountable. Most men won't listen. They won't listen to us. That's what I think of Mimi. Mimi. I mean, this is a tough one here. Actually, I know we'll do a vote again at the very end about what we think is, but I think
I also feel like you have an ethical obligation to challenge other women or other feminists when, for example, they deny that men face discrimination.
When it comes to things like, oh, men can't be abused, I've had this conversation with another woman, and it's the idea that just because a man may be physically stronger than us, does that mean they cannot be abused? And because of that, again, fairness, women need to be held accountable as well. I want to understand their viewpoint. As a woman and a woman of color, I know how it feels to be disenfranchised. So I want to understand why they feel the need to have a men's rights movement.
I feel empathy for the other side.
I don't think there's ever a time in my life where a person says they're hurting and I don't at least try to listen or understand. My only thing is that I want the same in return. So when I'm genuinely saying I'm hurting or I've been through something, and it's not just a personal experience, because I actively do this work and surround myself with women saying I've been hurt by a man before. I get that you have stories, but I mean, that's actually my question. I haven't heard y'all stories. Like, I've sat up here and said I have 3 on the top of my head. I have about 30 plus probably. And I haven't heard y'all say, this is what happened to me.
I don't think that I'll ever invalidate a woman's feelings when she says, hey, I've been abused or whatnot. I don't think any of us here are rightfully saying that. But I think what's dangerous is when emotional testimony that may not always be what it is gets, creates bias, right?
Okay, I feel empathy for women being lost, being misguided. Look, I don't know. You can go.
Do you have any bit of empathy for anything we said up here?
Yes, I really do feel empathy for
Why
women.
was that so hard to say? Like, for the stuff that we said, do you have any bit of empathy for the stories I said up here?
Yeah,
I just want to know.
I do.
Like,
Yes.
I'm not even trying to be hostile. I just genuinely want to know.
Yeah, I just think that like a lot of the problems that have happened in your life are because society is not patriarchal. It's not traditional. We're gone. We're lost. We're in a fallen state, right?
There is a change of guard, not necessarily a change of guard, but things are evolving, things are changing. And I feel like a lot of men speak from a viewpoint almost of fear. A lot of men are having a hard time grasping that and feeling comfortable with it.
I do feel empathy for your personal experience, but I cannot sympathize with your ideological position, because that ideological position is built on a fallacy, and that fallacy is actually costing, that's causing very real consequences for men as a class in this country. So I understand that you are here with us as kind of the good feminist, so to speak, that you feel empathy for men, and I believe you, but I do not believe your movement, and I do not believe your ideology.
And I do see, yeah, some of the other stuff, man. There was, and did you guys notice with Derrick? And again, Derrick, I understand what he's saying. I think a lot of people understand what he's trying to say. He's just not quite communicating it. He's not diplomatically communicating it, so he's having trouble. But are you also noticing they're like really attacking him? They can sense it. I think they can sense. He said he's an incel, and he, obviously saying he's involuntary about it. So he's obviously not confident in that arena at all, and they can sense it. And it's like they can smell the weakness almost and attack like hyenas. You can see the way that they're really going after him rather than the other two.
I don't know. You can go.
Do you have any bit of empathy for anything we said up here?
Yes, I really do feel empathy for
Why was that so hard to say? Like for the stuff that we said, do you have any bit of empathy for the stories I said up here?
Yeah,
I just want to know.
I do.
Like, I'm not even trying to be hostile. I just genuinely want to know.
It's pretty interesting.
That's a wrap, guys.
I'm sweaty.
Okay.
You are very articulate.
Oh, thank
you. So are you.
Yes, thank you.
Stories.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
All right, it's over. It's over. We are going to finish up with a little game, of course. We got some other things ready here. Now, after seeing what you've seen, after all of this, now, who do you agree with the most of these three guys? 1, Kursat, 2, Derrick, 3, Zach. And I think this will be interesting because they have different personalities, and I think that certain guys, just depending on more of your personality, are going to align with different guys. I'll tell you who I align with most. I think I probably already kind of gave it away for myself. But what do you guys think? Now that we went through this, who did you agree with the most? And then I'm going to show you guys the comments from this video, and it's pretty clear who the people watching liked or didn't like. I know we had some Derrick truthers throughout. Derrick was dropping. He just wasn't as articulate about it, but he had some good points. Zach had a good communication method, I felt like. Kursat was the cold-blooded killer. Anyway, me personally, Kursat, the cold-blooded killer, Kursat, the bomber. You know, I gotta throw this back at Kursat one last time. I gotta give him the Kursat just dropping bombs, just sniping all day long. And then now that we saw them, these three, who of these three do you think was the most reasonable? 1, Alyesha, 2, Bay, 3, Mimi. What do you guys think? Alyesha, Bay, or Mimi? Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe.